Hello everyone, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Social Media Marketing. So for Chapter 2, what you're going to be reading about is what's called the marketing mix, and that includes the 4 Ps. The 4 Ps are product, and price, and place, and finally promotion. So I'm going to briefly explain each of these things, what they mean in terms of the marketing mix, and then I'm going to go over the example that you as a class voted on that you would like to use to discuss promotion. And then after that, I want to show you another example from Cheetos. So just a little heads up, when you're watching this video, this is not going to replace reading the actual chapter. The answers to the questions that are in the vocab and knowledge check, as well as the case study that you'll be doing next, are not necessarily in the video. You still need to read the actual textbook. And just like I told you last week, pay attention to things in bold, headings, and take a look at the things that are like diagrams and tables, especially because they'll give you some different examples of these things in play. So without any further ado, product. When you're talking about the marketing mix, product is referring to knowing your product. The company needs to know its product and know its product in relation to competitors. What does it offer that fills a need for customers, or what does its product feature that addresses the interests and the wants of the consumer, the customers, the features of the products, how it's going to be used, if there's anything that needs to be considered in terms of safety. I'm thinking about a couple of years ago there was that whole Tide Pod thing. So think about how they had to address that, and they had to almost like child-proof the packaging for Tide Pods because people were eating them as a dare. And so there's some other terms in here you're going to want to look through when you're doing the vocabulary. And when we get down to price, what price is really considering is things like supply and demand, and the competitors of the company. So first of all, if you think about it this way, if a lot of people want something, then a company could raise the price and make a bigger profit if it's something that is in short supply but in high demand. And I'm sure you guys have seen this with certain brand new products as they come out, like the new iPhones, or whenever a new Apple product in general is released, they always limit the supply so they can jack up the prices because they know they will have customers who will buy them willingly. Competitors are definitely a huge consideration for price. You don't want to have a product that is twice as expensive as a competitor unless your product offers something that no other product can offer. And demand, your product needs to be in demand in order for you to be able to raise price. If you want to create demand, you might lower the price. You might say, well, we have the lowest priced cell phone on the market, so you should definitely consider buying our product. It has all the great features of our competitor, but at a lower price. So price is a big consideration in the marketing mix, and we also need to consider place. And what place refers to is the supply chain. What a supply chain is basically the entire lifespan of a product from when it is first made out of the materials. So we follow the supply chain from the raw materials, like for instance, when you get a Big Mac at McDonald's, you got to consider the materials that are used to make the bread, where the bread's manufactured, because we know they're not making the bread in the store. The cows, that are used to make the meat for the hamburger, and the condiments. All these things are a part of the supply chain. So those are the raw materials. They come into the facility that makes the actual supplies that McDonald's uses, the ingredients that they use to make their food. And then there's McDonald's itself, and then it follows all the way through to the person ending up with the hamburger in their hand, ready to eat it. So from birth to digestion, in this case, is what you would consider with place. And you have to consider all the things like the cost of running all that stuff and shipping stuff from one place to another. So that's what you'll read about with that. You'll read about the 3 C's of supply and the producers and all that stuff. And so when we get down to towards the end of the chapter, we're getting to really where we in social media marketing are most concerned, and that's with promotion. And so promotion, of course, is how you advertise, how you get people to be interested in your product or buy it. And so that's really what social media marketing is all about. And there's some stuff that you guys are going to read about in there, but the examples that I wanted to show you, which you'll need to actually review this for my last 3 questions on the knowledge, vocab and knowledge check. I wanted to show you guys how social media presence is used to promote products. So in our case, you guys voted for Netflix. Netflix was the winner. So I have the Netflix Facebook page, the Netflix Twitter, and the Netflix Instagram up. We're going to take a look at each. And so the first thing I want to do is kind of point out where if you look at these posts, pretty much all of Netflix's posts are trailers. And the trailers are, or short clips from different releases. And most of these are new releases on Netflix. So when you go onto Netflix and, or when you go onto Facebook and you see something from Netflix saying, oh, check out The Matrix. The Matrix is going to be on air now, available for streaming for the next month or whatever. Then that automatically, if you really want to see that movie, then you'll go get on the Netflix. Or if this was pushed out, through a share by one of the people who is a fan of the page, then some of their friends might see, oh, The Matrix is going to be playing on Netflix. I don't have a Netflix account, so maybe I will go buy one or subscribe to Netflix. And one thing that you'll see in Facebook as far as Netflix is concerned is they leave the ability for people to leave comments and reviews and to say, like, thank you. So they're, in a sense, they are getting some promotion from people who are leaving comments. It's helping drive people towards viewing these movies on Netflix. But it gives a chance for customers to interact with the company and participate in the promotion of the company. Twitter works a lot the same way, and of course, you have the ability to retweet. So that's one way that they actually use Twitter to promote their product, is they will post a trailer or some sort of little clip. People can also use the hashtag Netflix, or they can direct a tweet at Netflix to communicate about movies. Maybe they could say, like, it's a great way to get feedback about movies. They could say, okay, well, we'd like to see more sci-fi movies at Netflix. Then Netflix might decide, based on that feedback from the people who are interacting with them on Twitter, to add more sci-fi movies. And Instagram, we all know, is more photo and video oriented. There isn't so much text-based content, but as you're flipping through, you might see, oh, there's one of my favorite actors. So then you click on it and you view a trailer or find out that that's going to be a movie that is going to be debuting on Netflix. So the last thing I want to show you is an example from Cheetos. And it's, you may not really consider these things to be marketing ploys at first glance, but when you are on, like, let's say Twitter in this case, this was one from about 6 years ago. It's a little old, but Chester Cheetah, the mascot of Cheetos, has a Twitter account, apparently. And so in this tweet that he sends out, he is asking people, he says, Cheetle is dust that sticks to your fingers when eating Cheetos. More magical than pixie dust. Show me your Cheetle. And so this is a call to action, but this is also a very clever way of promoting very effectively their product, and also it's very cheap. Like, literally all they did was create a post with a picture of Chester Cheetah with some Cheetle on his fingers, and they prompted people to respond or retweet with the hashtag Cheetle and a picture of Cheetle on their hand. Well, what does that mean? That means two things. First of all, people are going to be advertising Cheetos for free on Twitter because they're going to be posting their pictures with some sort of comment and the hashtag Cheetle. So when people click it, they're going to see all these different things with Cheetle, and then they start, maybe people will start craving Cheetos. But also, every single person had to have bought or will buy a bag of Cheetos in order to take a picture with Cheetle on their fingers. So it's almost like an instant, like, here you go, if you want to participate in this, you have to go buy a bag of Cheetos. So free advertising, clever marketing, and it was all just a very simple and cheap way to do it, right through Twitter. And that's that. So for Chapter 2, you're going to be completing the vocab and knowledge check, which is the first thing that's due, and then the next class, the case study will be due, and you will be starting on that Chapter 2 assessment. If you are not caught up to this point, you need to make sure that you're working to get caught up. Have a good day.